Welcome to the Vibrant Life Podcast. My name is Dr. Alice Prince, and I am your host. So today we're going to be talking about unconscious bias, and I'll be asking a few questions, and of course, I'll end it with a word of inspiration. But before I talk about unconscious bias, I think it's important for you to understand your bias and own the fact that you have biases. For example, how many decisions have you made already today? 5, 10, 15, 20? See, you've probably made so many decisions today that you can't even count. That's because we make countless decisions every day without even realizing it. Even as you're listening to me, like right now listening to me, you're making a decision about me. You're making a decision about my content. And the answers to all of these questions are influenced heavily by something researchers refer to as unconscious bias. So what is unconscious bias? I hear you. Well, simply put, bias is an inclination or prejudice for or against one person or group. In other words, unconscious bias are unconscious feelings we have towards people or things. Unconscious feelings play a strong part in influencing our judgment of certain people, groups, and things. Oh my God, yes, you heard me. I said prejudice. Now, you may be clutching your pearls right now because I said prejudice. You may be holding your shirt collar, thinking, not me, I'm not prejudiced. But calm down, honey. We are all prejudiced. We all come into situations having formed some type of inclination. See, prejudice is not always a bad thing, but we have to recognize that we have them. One of the most prominent areas of our life where bias can play out is the workplace. In fact, one of the strongest biases we have in the workplace is gender bias. Why? Well, our feelings about gender and stereotypes we've all associated with gender are something we've developed throughout our whole lives. How we've been brought up, our lived experiences, our socialized experiences, our exposure to social identities and social groups, who our friends are or were, and many media influences all affect how we think, feel about certain types of people, and especially what makes a man and what makes a woman a woman. It's important to mention, however, that most biases and stereotypes do not come from a bad place. They are not bad intent. See, it's just deep-seated, unconscious stereotypes that's been formed in our brains through the years of different influences we often have no control over. For example, you think about all the phrases you've heard associated with women in the workplace over the years. And when I think about those phrases, I think about the glass ceiling, the maternal wall, the gender pay gap. Get it? So you ask me, how does bias affect our actions? See, most of us believe that we are ethical and unbiased. We imagine we're good decision makers. We're able to objectively reach a fair and rational conclusion. Let me debunk that myth for you. Because according to Harvard University's research, more than 2 decades of research, might I add, in reality, most of us fall woefully short of our inflated self-perception. Yes, in reality, our biases affect us in our decision-making process in a number of ways. Our perception, that's how we see people and perceive reality. Our attitude, that's how we react toward certain people. Our behaviors, How receptive or friendly we are towards certain people. Our attention, which aspects of a person we pay most attention to. Our listening skills, how much we actively listen to what certain people say. Are our micro affirmations, how much of how little we comfort certain people in certain situations. See, the most important step you can take today is to make those unconscious biases conscious. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Now it's time for questions. Remember, you can email me with your questions, and I promise I will answer them all on the next show. Email me at aprince@federationofcatholicschools.org. That's aprince@federationofcatholicschools.org. So, the question I had emailed to me was this. What are your 2 top retrieval techniques? So I see you were listening to last episode. The retrieval techniques. Retrieval technique is the science of learning. It is evidence-based, and I absolutely love it. We focus on getting information out of the student instead of pushing information into the student. So what are my favorites? Well, one method is called the brain dump, and the other one is called 2 things. So the brain dump is also referred to as free call or free recall. Show what you know, stop and jot. No matter what you call it, try this quick retrieval strategy during your instruction before the end of the school year. I bet you like it. Here's how it works. Pause your lesson, lecture, or activity. Ask students to write down everything that they can remember about what they previously heard, learned, or did in an activity. Then continue your lesson, lecture, or activity. That's simple. They're dumping everything in their brain out on the paper, but it's allowing them to retrieve the information. That's called the brain dump. Easy, quick, simple, and it concentrates on getting information out of the student. The next one is called 2 things. At any point during a lesson, stop and have students write down 2 things about a specific prompt. For example, what are 2 things you've learned so far today? What are 2 things you learned yesterday? What are your 2 takeaways from today? What are 2 things you'd like to learn more about? What are 2 ways today's topic relates to your previous topics? And then once they answer those questions, you just move on. 2 things, brain dump. 2 great retrieval processes. Now, before I go, I need to give you some inspiration. And this has to be my favorite part because giving you inspiration, it also inspires me. So this week, I really prayed and concentrated on Isaiah chapter 40, verses 28 through 31. Do you not know? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, and his understanding no one can fathom. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. I say to you, my friends, go walk and don't grow weary. Go soar, for you have wings. Let go of your misunderstandings and grow deeper in understanding who you are and how you can prosper and grow. Because when you prosper and when you grow, so does our children. You have the strength. You have the courage. You are already brave. You are already enough. You are already enough. Well, thank you. Thanks for listening. This ends our 3rd episode of the Vibrant Life podcast. Tell a friend. Share this link. Have a great day.